Do you have a signature issue that you think, when I get to Congress, I'm going to do something about this, that one specific thing more than anything else?
I think there are three major issues. I think the war in Iraq is front and center, the most important issue we face today. It costs us $13 million an hour. And once you start to realize, when you think of it in those terms, you realize really how it is capturing essential resources of this country, and that we have to deal with it for that reason.
Now, aren't a lot of those resources pouring right back into our own country, though? Because a lot of that money is going into our defense industry that pays our defense workers as well?
I think there's some of that, but there are needs way beyond, way beyond that.
An hour.
Yeah, way beyond that, and it's certainly drastically affected our relationships in the international community, and is having a devastating impact on a generation of young people that are serving in our behalf. And it's clear that we need a political solution and not a military solution. So I have said that if elected, I will file a companion piece of legislation to Jim McGovern, Congressman Jim McGovern, whose legislation sets out a timetable for the withdrawal of our troops. Within 3 months of enactment, you'd begin to redeploy our troops, and hopefully within 6 months of that date, it would be complete. You would put the Iraqi government on notice that we were intending to leave, and ask them to step up to the plate and begin to do their job. Gives you time to engage the international community and the countries around Iraq to bring some stability to the region. We would obviously continue to fund non-military operations now and for many years to come, and have troops in place to protect, those, we have contractors over there, we have embassy officials over there.
Now, do you feel it is the legislator's role to do that mandate towards the military, or would it be more the general's recommendation to us? I haven't heard the recommendation back from the generals. Are they saying it's time to start pulling back?
I think in this instance, it's very clear the American people have made it very clear that they would like this war to come to an end. And those of us who are elected by the American people need to go to Washington and make that case.
Issue number 2, you said there were 3, Iraq being 1.
Yeah, number 2 would be global warming. I think the Bush administration has engaged in a policy of denial on the science around global warming. It's a tremendous generational issue, securing our environment for our children and grandchildren. We're playing brinksmanship. We're running out of time in which we can seriously reverse the trend, and yet we have to go to Washington and do that. I live now in the Lawrence Mill, which is on the bank of the Merrimack River, and it's in a 100-year flood zone, and it's been flooded twice in less than a year. Now, we can't necessarily say it's due to global warming, but that's sort of a dramatic example of the kind of thing that could have happened if we don't deal with it.
What are the root causes that we can get at of global warming? What are you looking at in terms of areas that can be they can solve the problem with global warming going forward?
Yeah, well, we have to put a cap on emissions, carbon emissions. The scientific evidence shows that it's carbon emissions that are contributing to the gradual warming of the planet. So we put a cap on carbon emissions and put in place a system, a cap and trade system that essentially engages the market and begins to allow those polluters are punished, and those who are environmentally sensitive and aggressively do the kinds of things that need to be done are rewarded. So it's a mechanism that was used with acid rain. It worked well, and it worked well. It's a system.
Is it going to help in the long run, where the real problem is really going to be China and Africa as they develop? Because they're creating a whole fossil fuel economy, just like we did 30, 40 years ago.
We can't do it alone, but we also can't wait for them. We have to be a leader on this. The example I like to use is, when a young kid is out in the field, in the schoolyard, and gets in a fight and comes in, and his mother says, "Well, Johnny, why'd you get in a fight?" And Johnny says, "Well, Jimmy made me do it." That's sort of, if we say we won't do it until China and India or whoever don't do it, we're essentially passing the buck. We are the ones who have we have to be a leader. We are the most developed country in the world, and we have to be a leader. But we have to do other things too. We have to heavily invest in research and development around alternative technologies in order to begin to replace our dependence on oil, and also and to begin to lessen our dependence on foreign oil. And we have to moderate our demand for energy, whether it's through new miles per gallon standards around automobiles, whether it's the kind of building standards we put in place around new homes, and the sort of industrial processes that we use. There are lots of ways in which we can moderate demand.
You want us to go green? Is that what you?
Greener. You know, we could create, Hillary Clinton calls them green collar jobs. We could create green collar jobs. There's a tremendous opportunity in this district to do it. You know, the university has a green technology center. I've visited
Bill
and
Ricka's got some great green
Bill
technology
Ricka has
going
some
on.
great companies, and a lot of that R&D money could come here and create plenty of new jobs. We're fortunate with the university. We're fortunate with 3 community colleges in this district, you know, to provide the workforce training for those kinds of technology, you know, jobs as they develop. It's a real opportunity, but it also addresses a serious